It's absolutely progress, but I think you have to see what Mrs. Gandhi said in the context in which it was said. And we have to see it in today's context to understand whether what she said then makes sense today or not. And the fact of the matter is, she came to Stockholm at a time when the Western world was just understanding the pain of environment. It was seeing toxic air in its backyard. Its rivers were polluted, whether it was the Hudson or the Thames, or even the Stockholm's own waters were polluted. And Mrs. Gandhi was going to Stockholm at a time when India was not even beginning to industrialize. And we were at a stage where we had large numbers of poor people, and we essentially, and as a world leader, I think she very correctly at that stage said, well, let us first industrialize and then we will care about our environment. And that made a lot of sense at that time, and that was the mood of the day. But I think today, when we think back, it's 30 years from Stockholm, we think back, I think it's a very important time for the world to realize that actually the Western world has never cleaned up its act. And so progress has only meant that you have got richer. But with every time you get a little richer, you also end up degrading the environment a little more. And so wealth has in fact been the biggest polluter, and not poverty has not been the biggest polluter. And on the other hand, there is a big issue for us where we are also industrializing today, so we are getting richer. And as we get richer, we are learning the pain of pollution. We are learning what it is like to be constantly behind the problem that we are creating, where we are creating problems of toxification. On the other hand, we are realizing that we have never been able to manage our environment in a way that poor people who literally survive on the environment, for whom it is their survival base, they can actually benefit through environmental protection. Because it's also very clear that for the poor in the world, and there are large numbers of poor people in the world, in India, in Africa, and every other part of the world where the poor live, that the environment is their biggest natural asset, and that if we degrade the environment, we exacerbate poverty. And so poverty and environmental degradation are two sides of the same coin. And that's the lesson that our world should learn.